I sign here. Okay, and I'm seeing it is 6 o'clock, so we'll call our meeting to order if we could, please. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
And motion support, last chance. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed would be no. Motion's carried, we have an agenda. Roll has been called. Thank you. Next will be the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please rise and join us with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, thank you very much and welcome everyone. Next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the September 7, 2022 work session, along with the September 13, 2022 regular meeting. Your pleasure.
So moved.
Support and vote.
Okay, we have a motion for both. Is there any additional comments, questions, additions, corrections, deletions, anything? Hearing none, all those in favor will be yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no? The motion is carried, thank you. We'll move down to item G, resolutions. We have to consider a resolution exempting the city of Elma from the requirements of PA 152 of 2011 for the benefit plan year of January 1 through December 31, 2023. Your pleasure.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion to support. Comments or questions? Background from staff.
Yes,
You want to go over this again for us?
Yep, sure thing. As you mentioned, this was put into effect in 2011. Each year since then, the city has opted out. This does give us some flexibility to work with our department heads and staff to come up with some different benefit packages for the employees. Doesn't mean that at some point in the future we wouldn't opt into PA 152, but at this point we feel that opting out gives us some more options to provide what we need for staff to and our employees for their health care needs.
That law was put into effect, I think, to try to limit healthcare expenditures. It's all public employees, so schools are dealing with it as well. So every year, just like the city manager said, if you opt out, that gives you, that means you're under this cap, and that way you have the flexibility to offer more funds. So it's a really good thing.
And it's just, I think, initially the plan is to make it so public employees weren't being treated much more richly than private industry typically does.
I think
That's pretty standard. 80-20 is a pretty standard ratio.
I think that was the initial goal.
Yeah. Okay. Again, any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor would be yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Moving now to J, reports of offices, boards, and committees. Commissioner may receive the following report by one resolutioner. Any commissioner may remove any of the items within the section for individual discussion and vote. And tonight we have a draft planning commission minutes of September 12, 2022, and the city manager's report. Your pleasure.
Move to receive the draft planning commission minutes. Support.
Okay, motion support. Last chance for comments. Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Next, we will entertain a motion to accept the city manager's report.
Move to accept, receive.
Or to receive, yes. Okay, so we have motion support, and, right?
Yes.
Can I go first?
Yep. Get a few things here for you. Some very good news. The Elma Police Department received their accreditation for the Michigan Law Enforcement as a Michigan Law Enforcement accredited agency, which is overseen by the Michigan. There's so many acronyms here. The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. They received this distinction on September 14th of 2022. Same day we were holding CEC. They were up in Mount Pleasant answering questions with the review board up there. The representatives from the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission will be attending us. We were looking at the October 25th or 22nd meeting, and they have confirmed they will be here at our November 22nd meeting to give a presentation on the accreditation process and how rare it is for a department of our size to receive this accreditation. So looking forward to that. elect, and also I want to thank Director Williams, and then specifically the accreditation team that actually worked on the legwork, as Mark says, Chief Overla, Sergeant Ulick, and Sergeant Fury. So they put a lot of time and effort in the last few years to get that to happen. So very good news, and congratulations to them. Probably our biggest discussion point I want to kind of go over with everyone tonight is the recreational marijuana draft ordinance. In the packet, so we did provide a copy of the Pierce recreational marijuana ordinance. And also within the newsletter itself, there's a couple questions that we still kind of need to answer. So the attorney and myself can get you a clean copy of a draft ordinance, policy, and those sort of things for whenever we want to set a public hearing to go over that. One of the questions is, how many facilities do we allow of each? Underneath our current draft, we've talked about the grow, the process, the micro business, the retailer, safety compliance, and secure transport. Right now, we haven't applied any numbers, but to give the commission an idea, currently underneath the medical ordinance, we do provide 2 for the grow, 2 for the process. There was no micro business underneath the medical ordinance. We did provide for 3 in the retailer, 2 for the medical safety compliance, and then 2 for for secure transport.
But just to be clear, those
Yes.
are what we provide, they aren't necessarily filled.
That's right, that is correct.
I'm sorry, that's how many spots are open. Okay.
Yes, that is correct, that we provided for. The city of Lapeer, underneath the recreational ordinance, they have provided for 6 retailer licenses and unlimited with grow, process, safety compliance, and secure transport. In their buffer zone, we currently have a 500-foot buffer from schools and private elementaries, vocational ed, those sorts of things. But we have discussed the option of a 300, 500, and 1,000. We did provide some maps on what those would look like. What the city of Lapeer did, they look at each use with the buffer. Federal uses, they have a 500-foot buffer. Parks, they have a 200-foot buffer. Daycare, pre-K, 500-foot buffer, and 1,000-foot from school. That's how they did their buffer zones. They went out from those particular uses. We also had a discussion about do we allow any facilities within the B1 district, which we call our central business district. That's been a discussion back and forth. In the city of Lapeer, they do not allow marijuana facilities in their B1 zoning district, which they refer to as a neighborhood business district, which is a mixed use zoning use. But they do have something called a B2, which is a general business like ours, and a B3, a regional business, so it's more of the big scale box store type zoning districts. So that's how they broke theirs out. They do not allow it in the B1, B1 zoning district. So just some more things to think about from there, and does anybody have any thoughts, or those are really from a standpoint of getting you a clean ordinance policy, and then two, as we've had discussions of how to rank the different licenses to get that to you to review and then set a public hearing. These are kind of the last things that seems that we haven't really decided. Just any thoughts or comments?
Good. You're first. Not hearing many comments, so I guess I'll start off. I guess I would like to just soon get the hearing set and get the discussion going. And just for purpose of discussion, the main interest seems to be in providing retail establishments. We haven't had any takers on the other entities that we allowed in the past. And, just for sake of discussion, let's say we start with 3 for recreational as well, just to mirror that, and that would get us started there. As far as the second, your other question was the radius. And I don't know why, 300 foot seems like fair. I mean, we're a fairly small town, Lapeer's a little bigger than us, I believe. And again, for discussion, let's start there, would be my preference. And then the other question was the central business district. And I struggle with that one. I know there were some comments made in the past that people didn't really care for the central business district, but we've also got a local merchant that's, I mean, we initially licensed one of the retail operations in that district for medical. And it seems like at this stage of the game, we've got another license holder that potentially is intending to be in that district. It seems kind of unfair to change that at this point in the game. So I would be against, at least initially, disallowing the central business district.
I agree with those.
Me too.
I have, I think we can go with the same numbers that we had for medical. And just, I mean, that's just the limit. We may not get anybody else. I don't know exactly what the micro business one is, and so I don't quite know how we should think about regulating that. If somebody can explain to me. Zach, you have any idea on what a micro business is actually?
Micro business is a limited license, provides for the ability for the proprietor to grow, process, and retail at the same location. They changed it recently, I can't remember if they can take product in or send product out. I think it's take product in. I believe they're now able to purchase product from another cultivator or another processor, but they have a limited, I think it's 150 plant limit. They can do some limited processing in-house, and then they can sell the products that they make.
Okay.
And I've heard that equated to like a microbrewery, like Elmo Brewing,
Yeah,
where they kind
yeah,
of,
I heard
they
that too.
can sell
but
their
I
own
didn't-
product there, and,
Mhm.
which is kind of a new thing, I'd never heard of that. But I'd never heard of a local brewery until a few years ago, and that seems to be all the rage, so.
Okay.
Let me, Tony, I have a question. You've got, it was almost a fake distinction between medical and adult use. If we set it all in, you get 3 in the city. And the city gives 3 licenses. We don't care if it's medical, we don't care if it's adult use, we don't care if it's a combination. But the city's saying we're left with 3. Can we do that? Because it strikes me as like, what we're doing here is
Yeah, you
saying
have,
instead of 3, we get 6. We get, it's probably.
well, a couple of things.
distinction.
You'd have to amend the medical marijuana ordinance, which you could do. I mean, that'd be okay. The other thing, I think from a practical perspective, and maybe Zach could answer this too, but, I mean, based on what we've seen here and other places, I don't think you're gonna get anybody else asking for a medical
And
marijuana.
that's what I'm thinking, is this.
And that's the reason that I think we're here, you know, and it was the passage of the recreational marijuana statute that kind of, I think, doomed the medical business to a certain extent. So I don't know that there's gonna be a rush at all for that, but you certainly could do that, and I think you just amend the medical work, you know, and drop that down to whatever you want to drop it down to, and then the rest would be recreation. Certainly could do it.
So my 2 cents is, 2 retail businesses, no downtown, and 500 feet.
What's our medical, what's our setbacks for that? Is it 500, 300, 300?
And you want it to be what, 500?
Or shoot from schools.
Is there anything right offhand that you can think of that would be affected by that? I mean,
As far as schools,
schools and parks and stuff like that. Is
I
there-
guess St. Mary's is what pops into my mind just because of the,
Okay,
I don't think when I look at Loose Road, Pine Avenue, Hillcrest, the middle school or high school, those aren't in an area that you would do business
no.
anyway, right?
No, that's correct.
There's a-
No,
adjacent
vacant,
to those.
no, there's nothing adjacent.
And no potential to grow anywhere out in those, or by Hillcrest or anything?
No.
Okay.
There isn't.
It's pretty much the industrial park, right?
Okay.
Yes,
Or-
grows
or-
industrials.
Looking at the downtown concentric circles, I don't see truthfully how that would make much difference from, from one in the middle. I don't see anything that's gonna get, because St. Mary's is probably just out of the 1,000-foot range. And there's nothing else in between.
It would just depend, Roger, on which particular building. that
Right,
would go from
right,
the storefront
right.
to the.
But even, I mean, even if this whole thing were to get moved over here, I think St. Mary's would still be out of most of those circles anyway. so.
Well, I don't think it's necessary to have it downtown anyway, so it makes that.
Okay.
In my, that's
Okay.
my opinion on.
Okay.
I think if I wanna go buy a 12-pack of beer, I have to drive out to Walmart or Meijer, or doesn't affect me that much that I can't walk downtown and buy it. I have to drive, so I feel like if I wanted to go buy marijuana, it's a big deal about getting in my car and driving out to Consume or Pizza Hut, versus having to walk to our downtown to get it. Thoughts that I have about it.
And I would agree with Audra in terms of the 500 feet. If Roger, if you're saying there's not a big difference, I'd rather err on the side of 500 than err on the side of 300.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just
I can
because
see
if
that.
there's ever a situation where someone needs to reapproach us, we can always move it down
Mhm.
and have a different discussion at that point in time. It's a lot harder to go the other way.
True, that's true.
Just as a point, I think there's a couple places downtown you can buy beer.
I can buy a 12-pack and walk out with it.
Gas station right over here, and the old 7-Eleven.
Which gas station?
C&D.
B&B.
See, I don't,
There are a lot of places you
is
can buy
Beacon and
alcohol
Bridge
downtown.
considered in
Yeah.
the downtown?
Yeah.
It is?
I don't know, can a bar sell?
They have to take out license, I don't know if
I
they.
don't think so.
I think
Not
Braemar
anymore.
does.
They can?
I don't think they have the license.
Okay.
Oh, they don't.
And besides, you gotta remember that.
Well, it
Yeah,
was
right.
experience.
They charge you.
And
Yeah,
$3
I
a
never
pop.
tried it, I didn't know, I knew they sold it.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
Is the, old 7-Eleven in the downtown district?
yes, just on the edge of it.
I guess I'm thinking like the downtown between Beacon and Bridge and 7-Eleven. Like that's
Yeah,
what,
a little
the
narrow street.
downtown, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
so-
the
district.
Beacon and Bridge, I'm sorry, that's in the B1, and 7-Eleven, well, 7 Stars is B2.
Could you restrict it then to not on Superior? Because I think that's kind of what you're getting at, right? You don't want the storefronts along Superior.
This body's already authorized a store on Superior Street at 116 East Superior. I mean, I'll point that out.
For medical.
For discussion.
For medical.
A marijuana
Yeah.
retail store in
But
the
medical
downtown
and-
area has been authorized by this body.
Not me, but yes, I get it, this body,
Okay.
but yeah, and it's for medical, and you've yet to open that, because you don't wanna sell medical, right? You want recreational?
We were just approved like 6 months ago,
Right.
and I haven't received the correspondence letting me know that we have occupancy. So we
Okay,
can move
let's,
forward.
let's just keep it to the commission if we could, please. This is supposed to be a discussion amongst commissioners, so I apologize for involving you. We probably shouldn't have started asking you questions, so that's our fault for doing that, so. Any other comments from commissioners? Or we got enough information to set a hearing and
I
do
think so.
discussions properly?
I think the only other question that hasn't been touched on tonight is this question of the weighted, factors and how that might be weighted. I think everyone has seen that Pinckney, policy that had a certain point total for each of those factors that the body's supposed to consider. That'd be the only other thing that I can think of off the top of my head.
We could bring that as.
And I think that's gonna have to be part of that, because I don't have that in front of me. I'm not prepared to discuss those. I didn't
Sure.
look at that strong enough to say that this is my number one factor versus. But it might be good to get that scorecard out to everybody again and give us a chance to look at it before we get here for the hearing. And we can all bring our weights in and,
So can you explain the process to me, just so I'm clear? So we have the hearing, and then we get back together and make some decisions about what goes into the ordinance, or how does that work?
Certainly could do that, yeah.
mm-hmm.
And then we introduce the ordinance, and it would have, introduce it, you have to wait until the next meeting to actually pass it. At the same time, you gotta do an amendment to the zoning ordinance, which actually takes longer, because when you amend the zoning ordinance, there's a zoning enabling act. You're looking at publication 30 days or whatever, I think that's what it is. So that's a longer process before you get the zoning lined up. But I mean, it makes sense in my mind to get public input,
Yeah.
public hearing
Mhm.
first.
I think that first is a better idea than going in with a proposal and then having.
I mean, we could have a draft,
Mhm.
based on what we just talked about, and then it could.
Yeah, I think
could
we
be
need that
tweaked.
to
Yeah,
have discussions.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll have a hearing at our next meeting?
I guess we can add that to set a public hearing then, I guess we'll have that to the agenda,
Or
correct?
new business?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it'd have to be,
We'll do that in new business then. Okay,
And
very
that'll
good.
be on our Wednesday meeting, right? Is the next meeting this election, or do we have another meeting?
It's October.
we have, yeah.
Oh, it's
October,
October.
yeah. We're not there yet.
I see it going
We're not there
on.
yet.
It is going by
It is
fast,
going by
no
very,
no
very
question
fast.
about that, it's going by
Yes.
very
Just
fast.
Just
So let it keep
on
everybody
your
on their
draft
toes.
then, how do you, so with your draft, are you putting numbers in on your draft? Because we didn't all agree on the numbers, are you, what are you doing?
But, yeah, I mean, it's not,
You're
I
doing
don't
a
need to, I don't
range
have
or
to.
a-
Yeah, yeah, we could do that too.
What it could do is, since we've heard the two requests, we can put them side by side within the ordinance and highlight them, so.
And you could feel free to change it.
Right.
Anybody that
I
wants to
just
make a
was curious
motion on
for the
all of that
draft,
stuff, could,
Do that.
we could, you could make a motion to, to introduce this ordinance with these, these specific changes, and I think we'd be okay. But really, we're only talking about, I think, maybe three items now. that we need to-
My questions may sound stupid, but I just wanna
No,
make sure
not
I
at all.
don't miss anything that
My answers probably sound stupid.
they do, I'm just kidding. No, I just wanna make sure I understand exactly.
No, that's, I just wanna have a open discussion and make sure that we're all comfortable with how we're moving forward, so. Good, yeah. Awesome, okay. It's coming that time of year, speaking of timing, yard waste, just wanted to get that in front of the camera also. We're fast approaching the end of our yard waste season, which is, coming up, October 21st, there we go, yes, last day of October 21st. And collection, conclusion, means that the leaf, will begin the leaf pickup season on October 24th, which is your it'll come through your neighborhoods on your typical trash day. And that's scheduled, the crews come through and suck up leaves. So, the big thing that we usually run into is folks kind of miss the yard waste, because yard waste is, it has to be in bags. And we take those up to the 21st, and then we make that switch to just leaf pickup, and then some folks get confused with that, so just keep those numbers, or those dates in mind, that bags the 21st, after that, then there's no bags, but,
If you can't suck it up through the vacuum,
Yep.
you can't put it up.
And you'll
So-
advertise that well on social media and
Yep,
stuff?
yep,
so
we
that
always
can share?
have a-
Okay,
we'll have it on the ticker, we'll put it on Facebook, and try to get it out there as best we can. We, also put it on the paper, yep, water bills,
nice.
And Lori can maybe put it on the, I
Okay.
can salute.
yep, because that's usually where we run into it, is the bags and the actual pickup, sucking the leaves up, so that's where we have our issue. The only thing I wanna mention, also, this Thursday at the library, Dave and his crew from Public Works will be doing the second town hall meeting, for the neighborhood street millage, starting at 6 p.m. Everyone's welcome to attend. We hope everyone attends that's really interested in it. We did send out brochures to all the water customers for the proposal itself, but Dave and his staff have a nice presentation to provide and are there to answer detailed questions. So if there's something very specific that you didn't learn from the brochure, they are there to answer those questions, so. That's what I want to share tonight.
Couple of questions, and I don't know if you know the answer to this or not.
Yeah.
I was asking, I apologize, I forgot to, should have emailed you this one, but somebody asked me the other day, do we have a limit on the amount of brush someone can place out in front of their house?
Yes, we do.
There is.
There is, yes, there's a cubic
The
yard,
volume?
yeah, volume,
Okay.
yes, yep.
And
2 cubic.
2 cubic yards, 2 cubic yards. And if someone has, because I think somebody must have put out obviously more than that, and so they just pick up apparently the 2 cubic yards, left the rest. So it's still sitting there, I assume the next week we go back and take 2 more,
Yes, what we
if they
have,
leave it there?
that's what we have.
Okay. Do we notify the homeowner of what the regulation is somehow, and so they know now that?
We tag it, yes.
Okay.
I know Dave's crew does, and then Mike tries to, for code enforcement, gets one too.
Okay.
Yep.
I I didn't know what it was, so I
I didn't know.
On that same thing, let me ask you, because I've heard two different versions. Do they only pick up the bulky items on Thursday? Is that true?
That's Granger.
Granger, I know, for Granger, yeah.
No.
It's on your regular day?
Call it in.
Hmm?
Once you call it in, they'll let you know when it's due.
It depends on their schedule.
Okay, I had heard that they were only coming around, that truck was only in the area on Thursday.
Well, I think when you call it, like they assigned me Thursday. but-
Okay,
So it's probably
okay.
because they're
So it's an
getting
assigned
most
day.
of them, yeah, but
Okay,
you do
all right.
it.
You
You
there's a
have
toll
to
fee,
tell
you
them,
have to
yeah.
call them.
I know, yeah, I know that. A lot of people don't.
And they
Stuff
schedule
just
it.
sits out.
I thought
They're
we
very
were told the
fast.
same thing, it was going to be on a Thursday.
I mean, maybe that is the only day, I don't know, but you still have to.
It
you
just
call them, they
depends when the
schedule
truck
it,
is
you do that.
available.
Okay.
It's here in Alma all the time, but it services Mount Pleasant, Ithaca, St. Louis, and Alma.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Okay. A question that I had too about the water main distribution.
Yes.
Water, well, it was the, we're talking about the pipes. We got to meet that 5% replacement by end of the year. What's the probability that we're going to do that? The weather is turning quickly on us. And Dave, did you want to address that?
I'm Dave Ringel, Public Services Director. The projected number that we are looking to replace on that percentage is 5 to 7. We have already replaced 4, so we have about 3 more to replace by the end of the year. And what we were doing is this letter went out now to notify customers of what their line is, whether it's galvanized, whether it's copper, whether it's plastic. And we wanted to make sure we had all of our information kosher with state of Michigan before we sent those letters out. The ones that we had replaced before were emergencies because once we excavated them, the water line actually physically came apart, so we replaced those right as we did it. These other ones, we weren't under the emergency duress to replace those, so those are ones we're scheduled to have replaced.
Okay. And we've identified 100 lines that are galvanized? That's what it.
Yes, that
It
would
says
be, yes,
we've currently replaced 3 of our known 100 galvanized service lines.
yes.
So we've done 173 inspections, and 100 of them have been galvanized?
Correct.
But we're estimating galvanized lines are 12%, that's,
Oh, it
some of
says-
the numbers are fitting here.
It
for
says
us.
22 galvanized. in there.
Do you want to see?
Yeah, I'm not looking. I'm
It
sorry.
says we
No,
have-
I have a certain number of things memorized. I'm
Where it says
sorry.
we have currently replaced 3 of our known 100 galvanized service lines. The next to
Oh, yeah,
last sentence.
yeah, that.
I'm
Up top, it
struggling
says we
with the
have
math.
22 galvanized.
Well, we're estimating 12%, but certainly 100 out of 173 is bad. Galvanized is bad.
Oh,
It's one notch less bad than lead, I think is how we're
Okay.
approaching that, or how the state approaches it.
what we are doing is looking at the ones we're finding, and we also have a database of the ones that we know of that are copper, and using those factors to look into what we're finding as opposed to what we know of and what we don't know. But those are our projected numbers right now, so.
Which one? The 12% is the projected number?
I'm sorry, hang on here, sorry, I'm reading this again, hang on.
Good, I'm glad you're confused because I
Yeah, well,
I thought it was
like I
me.
said, I thought I knew this stuff, now I'm going, okay, what do I know, but,
22 is the amount of the ones that have been tested that we have found. The other, we had like 74 in the database that were already known that weren't part of the test, but are ones that we already knew about, was how I understood it from when we did our.
So they're not part of the sample.
They are not part of this sample group of the 390 or 80, whatever numbers that we did this time, but they're already known because they've been identified through other testing
So if we
sources.
took the whole universe of places, it could be 12%.
Right,
If you add that 77 into what
Okay.
we've tested,
yeah.
it looks.
Yeah,
much
we're kind of
higher.
looking at 2 different subsets of data and kind of combining them. Yes, the 22 is based on what's been tested, the other ones are just already known through the system.
So there are 100 galvanized lines probably
Total.
in the city. of
Yeah,
Alma.
but it's not 100 out of 170
Right.
tested, it's
Right.
22 out of 170 tested, and then the other ones are untested but known.
Good job.
yes, I'm reading through that.
We're gonna
trying to
switch
make sure
jobs
I
tomorrow.
got it.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, that makes more sense that way. I was
I know the numbers that I'm looking at is we have about 3 to 4 potentially to replace by this fall to make sure that we're under our portion of the inventory guidelines.
And what's the consequences if we don't get those done? What are we
We will
facing?
get them done.
We'd get served a notice that said, you know, based on your findings, you're gonna get a notice that says, okay, you didn't report your findings, or if you did report them, and you didn't do the recommended amount based on that percentage, that you have to do those, and please let us know when you'll have them replaced, is typically what I know of how they're dealing with it. It's based on our reporting guidelines that we have to, this was as of a 2 week ago conversation we had with the head of Eagle Lens.
Okay,
Project.
and we're contracting somebody else to do these, right? This isn't staff
Yes.
doing that?
Correct.
Okay.
To do the replacements, we are looking them up ourselves, the replacements the city is not doing.
You're doing the initial dig to test, or?
Yes, we're doing the excavation and the interior
And
investigations.
if you scheduled them then, the others, to get the last 3 done or something?
No, we do not have those scheduled for replacements, no, we are doing the inventories, but no, we have not scheduled the 3 replacements yet. The 3 that we have remaining left to do for this calendar year, those are not.
Shouldn't we be doing that? I guess I would think it's probably getting harder to find contractors to do anything.
To do the water replacements, not necessarily, there's the same few that do them in this area. But I wanted to wait till we got those letters out, got our information aligned and correct with Eagle before I sent those letters out that went out earlier this week. To know exactly if where we need to be along the program, if we're still dealing with it correctly. I want to make sure that information.
We know we gotta do them by someone.
Correct.
I'll make sure I'd rather not be on the naughty list from the state.
No, you're correct. If I had it my way, we could actually do more, but this first year is about learning and doing it accurately. But it was comforting to know that we are doing it the way that we need to be. There's a number of communities that have not done anything, and the clock is still ticking on them, so.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. We don't wanna be there.
No, that's right.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you.
Anything else related to that? No, thanks for the question.
Anybody else have questions? All right,
And
Thank
if
you.
anybody, you know, we're got the camera, if anybody looks at that letter and has any questions, comments, or concerns, please let us know. We wanna make sure that we have the information out there and it's accurate, and we can verify the information that we've described and that we've listened to those letters. So just wanna make sure that everybody has confidence in how we're going about this program. If there's any questions, we wanna address them, so.
And I assume the letter has your contact information on it.
Yes, it does. And then if I'm not able to answer it, we have 3 more people on staff that do know how to answer those because we want to make sure we're clear and concise with the information, that there's nothing that gets lost in translation or anything like that, because you know, in the last few months, everybody knows water's back on is a hot ticket item, so I don't want rumors or falsehoods or anything out there of that nature.
Very good. Appreciate that, thank you. Okay, was that all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else, last chance for questions on city manager report? Hey, hearing none, all those in favor of receipt would be yes.
Yes.
Any opposed would be no. We have received the report, thank you very much. Unfinished business, we need consider a resolution to approve the renewal of a 1-year contract for transportation services between Elma Transit and Gratiot Integrated Health Network, and also to authorize Director Bublitz to execute the contract. Your pleasure.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Okay, we have motion support. Who has questions?
Well, just real briefly, we were asked to pull some numbers together, and what's been provided is a period from October 1, 2021 through August 31st, 2022. And what they looked at was 4 locations where people are dropped off. And then the second paragraph there is us and our current partners with Right System, and Zone 3 is any communities that are outside of that. Taking the ride numbers in the top, what they looked at was per ride for those times, for those months, and to those locations. Looking at those that are in the community or outside of Zone 3, which are the people that are the communities that are in our service area. Those are $2 per ride, and those communities in Zone 3 are an hourly at $65 per ride. What those dollar amounts came out to was $101,370.27. Our contract amount that's being asked for there is $100,000. So basically, what we would show there is a loss of the actual dollar amount per ride of $1,370. But if Gen Integrated Health decided to purchase these outright, they can buy them in bulk, which would lower the cost of them actually. So we would be we wouldn't be receiving $100,000. It'd be something below that if they bought them in bulk per ride. So looking at that, so the number of rides, the face value of the rides that we charge, what the contract is looking at is very close to what it's costing us to provide the service.
So the contract is for a straight 100,000, and this is telling me it's costing us, hard costs, 101,000.
Yeah, if you're basing on those ride numbers there, if we were to, charge them per ride, those dollar amounts, and then outside, so $365 an hour, that's what that would come out to. But we do have availability of purchasing additional ticket books, I guess it's called, and those are at discount rate. You want to share what that is?
Sure. Currently, Rob Pavlos, Trans Director. Currently, we have the availability of buying rides in bulk, punch cards, and like $100 value, we charge $85. So essentially anything over that, that's the biggest discount that we offer. So if Jen was to buy $100,000 worth of punch cards, it would essentially cost them $85,000. And it would be a crazy accounting nightmare for my staff to be able to produce that many, so.
But our actual fixed cost to run the buses is $65 an hour?
If, and in the zone 3, it could be up to $65 an hour.
Our cost. I mean,
Our
and
our
that's-
cost,
Yeah, what's our cost to run a bus? I mean, we're selling it at an hourly rate, right?
yes.
Do we know our cost to run? How many hours, what's our total expenses for the program? How many hours that the bus is operating? I mean, that gives you cost per hour, right? Do we know that number?
I can get that number for you. Historically, it was around $20 an hour between equipment, overhead, and all of that, but I haven't looked at that.
What's provided, Maryland put together, that $65 is a rate includes a bus driver wage, limited fringes, bus expenses, the ATC overhead, and the city overhead. It's included in that $65.
So that was really my real question, is what it would cost us to offer this service? And, I just, if you're going out of our zone, out of our taxpayers' jurisdiction, the IRS rate for a car now is 62.5 cents or something like that, see what it is. I figure a bus is at least $2 an hour, it's gotta be to run a bus, or $2 a mile. If a car is 60 cents, you go 15 miles, you got a 30-mile round trip. Got $2 is $60, that's kind of what, the back of the napkin, in my mind, that's why I was asking, what does it cost us? How do you calculate, what does it cost us to run a bus? So,
That's the numbers that Maryland put together for us, so that's where she came up with the $65 per hour for the bus to go out into zone 3, which are the communities that are not within our service area that pays the village.
okay. All right, answered my question, thank you. Okay, we need a motion, right?
Yep.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Any opposed, no? Motion is carried, thank you. Okay, moving down to new business. Consideration of a resolution to adopt the Elmo Planning Commission recommendation for approval of an extension of the agreement for 319 East Downey Street for planned unit development through August 2023.
Move approval.
Support. Motion support. Do you want to do some background for the camera?
Yep, sure thing. Yes, yeah. Our planned unit development project that we worked many months on got approved, and then COVID hit, prices for construction shot through the roof, so that project was put on hold. Within our ordinance, there's time limits on the PUD, but so we were able to provide extensions in circumstances that are beyond some control. The developer is looking to go out for bid on the project again, and obviously, to make sure that they still have a plan that's been approved, they're asking that it be extended through August of next year, and that's been confirmed as a recommendation from the planning commission. So, holding our fingers crossed that some bids come in on the good side for us. Also, probably within the next couple weeks, there is an opportunity through the Michigan State Land Bank for some grant funding for a project like this. So we are looking into that also to help with making this project become a reality. We're probably looking at, we were looking at about $7 million project before COVID, so we're well over $12 million for this project after COVID, I would assume. So, but it'd be a great thing for us, for the housing and of course the tax base.
And just 319 East Downey is what's commonly known as the old middle school property.
That's
so,
right.
Good luck.
yeah, that whole block, yes. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would be yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried and we've adopted. Thank you. Number 2, consideration of a resolution to adopt the Alma Planning Commission's recommendation for the approval of proposed amendments as presented to Chapter 60, Article 9, signs of the Alma Code of Ordinances. Your pleasure.
Support.
Motion support.
This
Sure you want to discuss this more.
Yeah, I know I do. But we kind of took one extra step with this because it's been such a long time we've been working on this, and I wanted everyone to have, to be able to see the red lines, to make sure that you knew what was being taken out of it, to get us to a point where it meets the current requirements for what's being written on the sign. So, if there's no other comments in there, if we adopt that tonight, for our next city commission meeting, we'll bring and adopt introduction of a clean ordinance for you to introduce. So I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page of what's been taken out and the items that have been.
I'm looking for this stuff here under feather signs, because when we put through an ordinance about feather signs lots of years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I remember one of the things was that they were to be a temporary kind of thing, and we're not supposed to be up for any more than 30 days or 60 days, and changed all that kind of thing, none of which we have ever enforced. And I'm just wondering where that stands in this. Is there a thing about feather signs in here? I don't see it.
The feather signs themselves would just be the definition and where you could place them.
Okay.
Right now, for the life of me, I cannot tell you
Okay.
what our
Well, it is listed here.
time limit is.
I mean, it's defined at least.
Yeah, it's defined,
It's-
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just, in my head, I just can't remember what the, if there's a time limit or what that time limit is.
And there is a time limit, and I don't recall what it is, that's true, but we decided that feather signs were ugly at that time, and we didn't want them up forever, and that they had to be changed or something every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, I don't remember what. And we've never done anything about enforcing that, because there are feather signs that are up there that have been there for 2 years. And if we just need to do what we say we're gonna do here with it, if there is a,
Now, we do have in there, which is, it's been there for a long time, if the sign is distressed or
Mhm.
it needs to be replaced, that's always been in there, and that's if that should be
okay.
obviously enforced, if there's
Yeah.
it's ripped and those sort of things, it needs to be taken out and replaced.
I will take a closer look at it before we, okay, to see, because I'll go back and pull the law that the ordinance that we put in about feather signs.
There is a section about feather signs, but it doesn't say anything about the,
Feather flag sign, a freestanding temporary sign, it
I
doesn't,
just can't feel, if there's
On page 140, packet at least, there's a section about feather flag signs, yeah, I can talk. But it doesn't mention time limits, so.
Yeah, I just can't remember off the top of my head if there's a way out.
All right.
Well,
Well,
that's the
I'll-
thing, if we're not.
It's gonna be hard, to say those can only be up from a certain number of days, but you have a different shape sign, it's fine to be up permanently.
Right, yeah.
So that may be,
I assume that it's all
May have been
gone from there, and that's fine, because
like you
most
said,
of
if
it
we're not
really
gonna enforce
doesn't
it,
matter.
it's.
Yeah, and as long as they're maintained and look good, and they're out, not in the right of way, those sorts of things, it's a good way to advertise the business.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Any opposed say no? We have adopted, I guess, or adopted recommendation.
Yes, not the recommendations.
Okay,
Did you want to do the-
new business, yes. New business, we need to set a public hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion support, comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried, thank you.
Did
Okay,
we actually say what the public hearing is for?
oh, it's a public hearing about the marijuana ordinance, so, yes, we didn't, did we? We talked about it earlier.
Just a public
Instead of
hearing.
public
Was that the intention of the
Yes, that
motion
was my
maker
intention.
and the support? So, my apologies.
That could get tricky later.
Yes.
Public hearing on what, anything you want.
Let's just talk.
And the intention was to set that public hearing for the next meeting,
yes,
correct?
yes.
Regarding the proposed, potential marijuana ordinance, recreational marijuana ordinance.
Thank you.
And that is true of the support as well, who's the support?
Nick.
Okay. Okay. And I knew Sarah could read everybody's mind, but we
Mine.
wanted to make sure we said it all out, so, okay. Appropriations, any interest in paying the bills?
So moved.
Okay, comments or questions? Just from our early discussions, that includes any attorney or not? Since he's retiring anyway, did we stiff him last year?
So far, so good.
All right, anybody else?
Here, pleasure of our company.
All those in favor of paying the appropriations, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. The motion is carried. Thank you very much. Move to commissioner comments. Roger, you want to go first tonight?
Sure, because I have some things that I am very happy to announce.
Good, we like happy.
Community Cafe next Thursday, day after tomorrow, will be the last drive-through we are doing, and on the 7th of October, I believe.
Six.
Yeah, is that the right thing?
It'd be the
Come on.
October
The 6th, October 6th, yeah, which is a Thursday. We will be returning to In the Dining Room for Community Cafe. We are happy to announce the partnership with Met's Food Service of Alma College, who will be doing most of the preparation at the college and then bringing stuff over for us to distribute, which is what they have been doing. We did that with Saga one day a month, one Thursday a month, that they would give my crew some time off. And so it's something that has happened before, that they are willing to do it on a full-time basis, because we were totally unable to find an individual who was willing to step up as Dave has done, and several people have. Dave, I think, is the 5th or 6th director we have had over 30 years. But anyhow, so we are real happy to announce that that's gonna come back to being in-house. I need to talk with Brad at some point in time to see if we can get some reestablishment of Dial-A-Ride for people to come in. I will do that very soon. Also, we are going to do the big in-house Halloween party, the after trick-or-treat party for a half hour after trick-or-treat starts to about an hour and a half after it. And we've got games and popcorn and all kinds of things. We have a fire engine, and I think we are gonna have police, although that's, remains to be seen. So that will be also in-house, as will Thanksgiving this year. We'll be back in-house for the annual Thanksgiving dinners. Really happy to do that. It's been 2.5 years since we've had anything in fellowship
Good news, thank you. Danny?
Just wanted to shout out to Dave and his guys for the parades the last couple days. I know it's a lot of work setting up those signs and picking up the candy, as well as the fire department for participating in the parades, and then the police department for kind of directing traffic around, keeping everyone safe. So I know it's a lot of work. I've talked to a few guys that have done that, the candy pickup the next day. And they said it can be pretty tedious, so thank you.
Katie's on the second day.
Especially with the rain.
So the kids didn't do their job, is that?
Well, my daughter came home with a trash bag full. We have enough for probably 4 Halloweens. So yeah, I think they just got bored of picking it up.
Yeah, they are generous in some of those parades, in some of those units, so, good deal. Thank you, Ian. Roxanne? Okay. Yeah,
I was expecting it to be me, I was like,
well, if you would
no,
like to, that's
go
fine.
ahead. It just, usually it comes right down.
I was just trying to change it up.
Hard to follow.
I like the change.
Random.
I already wrote Nick.
Yes, just have it go.
I just wanted to congratulate the police department on the accreditation.
Great. See, now I can just
Put a
say
feather in
more.
their cap. That's pretty impressive. Good job.
Michelle?
I'm following you, I'm good.
Yeah.
Ditto, like you said,
Ditto,
don't
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, yeah, congratulations to Elma PD. I also wanted to say, for the first time since my son was little, my family had to use Elma Transit, on Friday afternoon to bring a family member from Schnapp's to our house for a visit. And it was wonderful and thankful for the service. We would not have been able to get him over for a family visit had it not been for Elma Transit. So it was really just neat to be on this end of the service and, and they were prompt and he was in a wheelchair and it was awesome. So thankful for the service in our community.
Mr. Attorney?
I'm gonna try to make this real quick. But as we've talked about before, I'm retiring at the end of the year, right? Yeah.
Oh,
never mind.
Ouch.
I'm even happier than you. Anyway, this was an interesting thing. I mean, trying to figure out what we were gonna do, because obviously we have the office downtown Elma, and my number one goal was obviously keeping that open. And secondly, keeping my staff working, and Pam would be fine, I'm sure, but it would be nice to keep her where she was. So we were looking to try to figure out how to do it. Initially, we were thinking about hiring a lawyer. Lawyers used to be a dime a dozen. We were the scourge of the earth. Now, it's hard to find one. It's almost impossible. So anyway, contacted a group out of Saginaw. I've mentioned them before in a couple of meetings, Smith Boville out of Saginaw. Because they do municipal work, they do insurance defense work, which I do, and they do a lot of the estate work and business work that Pam did. So we felt like it would, jive real well with what we were doing. The other thing that was important was keeping the Elma office open. And they have agreed to do that. We are affiliating with them officially on October 1st. This is our last week as Latino, Blackson, and Costanzo, and we will start with Smith Boville on October 1st. They have a lot of experience in municipal law, and you guys have utilized them in the past when we've had conflicts. I know Dave Meyer has done some work for the city of Elma. I just wanted to introduce two of the members that are probably gonna be doing a lot of the work. Adam Flory and Alex Barron. And to show you what kind of great guy Adam is, he brought his girlfriend here. She's had to sit through this whole thing.
This is my idea of a date.
That's how dedicated he is to municipal law.
I think you're giving credit to the wrong person.
I hope you're gonna take her to dinner downtown.
Anyway,
I will.
I have, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I mean, it has been a privilege to be the city attorney in the city of Elma. I mean, I've lived here now 32 years, and to be able to do this has really been a privilege. And it,
Don't be getting sad, you
no,
got a couple
I'm
months
not,
left for you.
I'm just saying, and I'm being honest though. And it was important that we at least give you the opportunity to utilize the services at the same place where all the files are and everything else, with a firm that has experience in this area. And I'm very happy to report that. I think you'll be well served. Obviously, it's your choice, but I would wholeheartedly recommend that you consider using those folks. Anyway.
How did you really feel about this? I'm not.
That's it.
You're wavering here so much.
That's my, like I said, I'm even happier than Roger.
What's
And I'm sure.
Pam's function, is she going with them, or?
we will be Smith Bowville employees as of October first,
Okay.
and so will Debbie. And yeah, Pam will continue to work in our office. They have committed to staffing our office as necessary with attorneys that, you know, will handle whatever comes up. So if it's city commission night, there'll be somebody here, from Smith Bowville to handle the city commission meeting. If it's, you know, one of the other things that I do, like insurance defense work for Pioneer or State Farm or whatever, they'll have somebody here for that, and also the business and the estate stuff as well. So I mean, I really think under the circumstances, this is the best that could have worked out, and I'm really happy that, we were able to pull this off.
So any services, it sounds like any services we've had at your office for the past, as a community,
Absolutely.
are still gonna be available through that
Absolutely,
office.
at that office, and probably more, actually, some of the things that
How long
we
has
did.
Portino Claxton and Costanzo been in business?
Well, Costanzo showed up in 1991 or two, I was there since 1990, before, El Fortino started this firm, I think, in 1950, I mean, they've been here forever. And that is, you know, they're gonna, my understanding is it's gonna be Smith Bowville, and it's gonna say formerly Fortino, at least Fortino Claxton anyway, and, yeah. It's not really matter a whole lot, but anyway, so people will know and whatever,
Is
but.
it in our side ordinance?
Look at that part.
Well, thank you.
Really,
You're a
it's
good
already said-
sport, Tony.
Huh?
You're a good sport.
It's all right. My mother showered me with love and affection as a kid. I've got a pretty good son.
Okay, well, thank you. Did you have more?
That's it. Congratulations to the LMPD too, well deserved. That's it.
Okay, Eric?
Just quickly, we are in need of two park committee members. So if you're interested in serving on the Alma Parks Committee, please go to our website, download the boards and commissions form. That's under publications and forms on our website, and fill it out and submit it to the office, and we'll reach out to you. It'd be great. We need two more people, so looking for a couple volunteers.
Terrific. There should be some exciting things going on in the parks.
Yes,
Some
yes.
important work needs to be done. So
Yes,
that's
very
exciting.
important. We're on there right now, just starting the process of our master planning, so it's a good time to start on that committee.
Perfect, thank you. And I would like to add my congratulations to the LMPD, the department, and everybody that worked so hard on that. That is really an exceptional award or an exceptional achievement. That's, as you mentioned, it's pretty uncommon for a force in the city of our size, so hats off to them. Congratulations to Alma College football. They had a great homecoming. Alma High School had a homecoming too. That's maybe not quite, that great parade I heard. Lots of candy there. So, but I'm sure they played hard and.
Lots of people in
mixed
town.
the game, but yeah, well attended, and congratulations to them for everything, so. With that, we'll open it up to the public for, public comment. If anyone would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes to share your thoughts with the commission. Who would like to be first? Please go to the podium.
Attorneys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Adam Flory from Smith Bowville, along with one of my colleagues, Alex Behrens, who's here in the audience as well. My girlfriend Lauren, who's going to attend the city commission meeting tonight, I think anyways, so it just worked out. I'd like to thank Tony for his kind words. It's interesting, before this merger, Tony and I had a file together that never actually proceeded to litigation, but we were able to get it worked out. And he was a perfect gentleman throughout, which obviously he is at these meetings as well.
Did you hear
that?
It's on the record now.
Very nice to work with. As Tony had stated, we do quite a bit of municipal law at my office. We represent approximately 20 municipalities or so, mostly townships and villages. We have done some work with the city of Alma. I know Dave Meyer, one of my law partners, has done work in the past. Dave's been doing municipal law for about 45 years. I've worked with Kathy Roslin, done a few tax appeals before. I think I had represented the city maybe 3 or 4 years ago on some tax appeals with Kathy, and so she was a pleasure to work with. And we like to consider ourselves a pretty full-service shop in terms of representation, in terms of including day-to-day consulting regarding any issue that could come up under FOIA or the Open Meetings Act, and also some more sophisticated matters such as special assessments or election issues and things like that. And so I certainly hope that we're able to continue to provide the good service that Tony's been providing. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to continue to earn earn your reputation. We will be maintaining the Alma office open, and so for purposes of contacting Tony or our firm, it will likely be the same procedure. You just call the Alma office. I mainly work out of the Saginaw office, but I'd be happy to, so you can call either one, Saginaw or Alma. I'd also be happy to give everyone my cell phone, so you can call that as well. I think everyone got a business card, hopefully. And so you can call any of those numbers. As Tony said, we will have attorneys at the Alma office regularly. And I or someone from my office would certainly be here every city commission meeting night. I probably would be your main contact. Dave, as I said, Dave Meyer, one of my partners, he's forgotten more about municipal law than I'll ever know. But he's essentially kind of halfway retired, and so he's still a great resource, but not quite working day to day anymore. And so with that, I just thank you very much for your time. We appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening and meet everyone, and we greatly appreciate your consideration.
Thank you.
Sean McEwen, I'm here representing Consuma Warwick. First, we're very excited to hear public hearing date is set. Thank you very much, that is good news. We just wanted to address a couple things as maybe you move into that kind of final draft for the public hearing. Previously, I know you looked at the Portage ordinance, and they had that sunset clause in there. Our company would just like to maybe again address that as a possibility. Being one of 3 medical licenses that were issued, we are the only one to fulfill that investment and create the jobs. We've held those jobs through the pandemic. We've seen a lot of upward mobility through our Alma location, and we don't want to feel maybe punished for following through on our commitment and opening the doors there. If you didn't go that route, we would like to also maybe echo Audra's comment there with 2 licenses. As Daniel said on the buffer, you can go one. It's easy to go one way, hard to go the other. Once those are issued, obviously it's hard to take them away. But we can always add more in the next year. And then the last thing we did want to address was the buffering between licenses. I know that isn't something that's in the ordinance currently. It is in a lot of other ordinances. Detroit, I was just reading actually today as I was coming up here, and they have a 1,000-foot ordinance or a buffer between licenses. Again, that is just something that's really, really helpful. We see it in firsthand in Lapeer, which is the ordinance that you had posted today. We have a retail location there, and even with their 6 license cap, all located in a very close area, it's become a race to the bottom, and it's hard for these companies to stay solvent there as well. So we'd love if you would consider maybe putting a buffer between licenses as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who would like to be next?
Dave, go ahead, buddy.
My name's Dave Owens, I live in Seville Township. I just want to introduce myself. I'm running for county commission, and I would represent precinct 1 in Alma, along with Pine River and Seville. I'm sure we'll have conversations, and we'll be, let me know what the hell's wrong with the county commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. I apologize if I said too much to you before the meeting.
Oh, that's fine.
Zach, are you, okay.
Be brief. Zach Everett, 116, 118, and 120 East Superior Street here in Alma. That's a cutthroat move, man. I like that 1,000-foot radius for competitors, especially with the Pizza Hut slated for a competitor there. That was an interesting twist. I didn't expect the downtown issue to come up. I was informed of that because of a meeting that I wasn't at. It's interesting to me. I guess first, Tony, congrats on your retirement. I did have the opportunity to work with Smith Boville, actually on a case Bob Jarima was representing the city of Alma on back with the Albert Block issue. So I found Bob to be very professional, and I enjoyed working with him on that. So I looked up real quick, Andre, your question about picking up alcohol to go in downtown Alma. According to Liquor Control, Braveheart, Blockhouse, and the PK all have retail off-premise licenses. believe that allows them to sell out the door. As for stores in the downtown area, I would love to have a conversation, Danny, with you, or Audrey with you. Michelle, I don't know where you're at with that issue. Anyone who would like to, or be open to a discussion, but I'd love to have that discussion, because I don't understand the rationale behind it. Our store would be the only store that would be locally owned. I was informed that there was some complaints about the incomplete construction out on Heather Lane, and that was somehow blamed on marijuana or the cannabis industry. I don't know how that's related, if the incomplete construction on Warwick Drive is related to cannabis as well, I don't know. I don't know anyone, and I would challenge anyone to come up with someone who has spent more time advocating for legalized cannabis in the city of Alma than I have. And all the while, we've been trying to get a store in our 116th building. We had a tenant slotted for that. They lost the opportunity to do that. My partner and I stepped in on that 6 or 7 months ago. And met with the county building inspector and the now city manager, who was assistant city manager at the time, or maybe interim at the time, but, and informed that we would be getting our occupancy permit. We've not seen that yet. I think if someone wanted to open a pharmacy downtown, I think it would be universally accepted. I think if someone else wanted to open up another liquor store or bar downtown, I think it would be universally accepted. The Block House was accepted with open arms when they wanted to open. Again, as I've said before, I don't understand the disconnect. We have proprietors downtown that ask the city commission to allow them to put chairs out front so people can drink alcohol on the sidewalk in downtown Elma. But somehow we don't want to allow people who are over the age of 21 to be able to lawfully purchase cannabis in the downtown area of the city of Elma. I don't understand. So I would very much like to have those conversations. I look forward to the public hearing. I appreciate everyone continuing to keep an open mind about this. And I always appreciate the thoughtful comments. So, thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address the commission? Twice? 3 times? Okay, we'll entertain the motion to adjourn our meeting.
Wait,
this evening.
Greg, I forgot, I was thinking we met since the CDC conference. I just want to tell you guys, great job. That was excellent. I thought we were a host site, and the people that came in had wonderful things to say about the way it was planned and everything that was going on downtown, and I mean, just really great feedback. I think people who never dreamed of coming to Elma that, you know, were like, wow, you guys have a lot going on. So just, I was thinking we had met, and I'd already told you that, and I looked at the calendar, I was like, no, we haven't met since then. So I just wanted to say, great job, great work on that.
Excellent point, Audrey. I too had forgotten, it seemed like it was
It
eons
seemed a
ago.
long time ago, I know, but yeah, it was
Yeah,
great
I've heard those
feedback,
comments from
yeah.
people that had never been to Elma before, and they were just so impressed. And it's really interesting, you know, we drive past and through our town and live here and just take it all for granted. And when you start to see our community through the eyes of someone who's never been here before, it really reawakens the spirit of what we have here. It's really something special. We do have a very, very nice community. We're very fortunate for that. Just in spite of some attorneys. No, Tony did a great job.
I'm a transplant. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, you're a newbie still,
learning.
32 years.
32 years.
You almost got your residency.
We'll have we have a meeting next week, a Zoom meeting with the MSU team, and we'll provide our feedback that we received at the end of it. So I'll bring something to the commission. It's been a whirlwind between everything. September's been a very busy month for us, and like Dan mentioned with the homecomings last weekend and everything else, it's been a busy month. So we'll get that in there. We appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah,
That was we were very it was a great 2 days for us. It really was.
Thanks for reminding us, Audrey. That's appreciated. Did we get a motion to adjourn or? We didn't?
Sorry, I interrupted it.
No, it's fine. It's a good point.
Support.
We do have motion support. Last chance for comments. All those those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great evening.